You remember the exact moment it happened, not because it was loud, but because it was silent. There was no announcement, no warning, no clear explanation, just a door that did not open. You waited. At first you told yourself it was temporary. Maybe the timing was off. Maybe you needed to try harder. Maybe if you stayed patient a little longer, things would change. You checked again and again and again, but nothing moved. And slowly, something unfamiliar began settling inside your chest. A quiet heaviness, not just disappointment, but confusion. Because you were not chasing something evil. You were not asking for something haram. You believed it was good. You believed it was right. You believed it would finally bring stability into your life. You made dua for it. You asked Allah sincerely. You trusted Him. So when the door closed, the pain was not just emotional. It was spiritual. You began asking questions you were afraid to say out loud. Why would Allah let me get so close just to take it away? Why would He allow me to hope if it was never meant for me? And this is where your heart begins to misinterpret protection as punishment, because you only see what you lost. You do not see what you were saved from. Allah sees what you cannot see. Allah knows what you do not know. Allah says in the Quran, perhaps you hate something while it is good for you, and perhaps you love something while it is bad for you. Allah knows and you do not know. This is not poetry. This is reality. Because there are paths you wanted to walk that would have slowly weakened your connection with Allah. Not immediately, not obviously, slowly, quietly. There are opportunities that looked perfect on the outside but carried hidden tests your heart was not ready to carry. There were people behind that door who may have smiled with you but would not have protected your heart. There were environments that looked like progress but would have distanced you from your purpose, but you did not see it. Because Allah protects you from dangers you cannot detect. Sometimes the danger is not physical. Sometimes the danger is spiritual. Sometimes the danger is who you would have become if that door opened. You think losing the opportunity is the worst outcome, but losing yourself would have been worse. You think the closed door delayed your life, but maybe it preserved your soul, because not every open door leads to peace. Some open doors lead to distraction. Some open doors lead to attachment to dunya. Some open doors slowly replace your reliance on Allah with reliance on creation. And Allah, in His mercy, does not allow everything you want to enter your life. Even when you beg for it, even when you cry for it, even when you believe it is the answer to your pain. Because Allah is not responding to your present emotion. He is responding to your future reality. He sees where that door leads. He sees the heartbreak it contains. He sees the anxiety it carries. He sees the distance it would create between you and Him. And He closes it. Not to hurt you, but to protect your future. But your heart struggles to accept this, because from your perspective, it feels like rejection. It feels like abandonment. It feels like loss. You measure the moment by what you feel. Allah measures it by what He knows. You see the closed door. Allah sees the collision it prevented. You see disappointment. Allah sees protection. And here is the truth most people realize too late. Allah does not close doors randomly. Every closed door is intentional. Every blocked path is precise. Every removal is calculated with perfect knowledge. Because Allah is not reacting. He is guiding. There are moments in your life when Allah closes a door because He knows if you walk through it, you will lose something far more valuable than the opportunity itself. You will lose your peace. You will lose your focus. You will lose your closeness to Him. And Allah loves you too much to allow that to happen without intervention. Even if you do not understand it, even if you resist it, even if you cry over it, because your understanding is limited to the present moment. Allah's knowledge extends beyond time. He knows what would have happened next. He knows how it would have ended. He knows what it would have done to you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And sometimes Allah closes a door because He knows you would not have had the strength to walk away later. So He walks you away now. You think you lost control, but Allah took control. And the silence you feel right now is not abandonment. It is protection unfolding quietly. Because Allah does not always explain His mercy immediately. Sometimes He lets you feel the confusion first, not to hurt you, but to teach you trust. Trust that His knowledge is greater than your plans. Trust that His protection is greater than your desires. Trust that what He removes is never random. You are not standing in front of a closed door by accident. You are standing in front of divine protection. Even if your heart does not fully accept it yet, even if your mind keeps replaying what could have been, even if a part of you still wishes it open, because one day Allah will show you why it did not. One day you will see the reality behind the door you begged for. One day you will realize that what you thought was the answer was actually the test, and you will thank Allah for closing it. Not immediately, not easily, but sincerely, because you will understand that the closed door did not block your life. It saved it. And if Allah closed that door while you were asking Him for guidance, then that closed door was not rejection, it was mercy. You were heartbroken over something Allah was saving you from. You did not just lose an opportunity, you lost the future you had already started building inside your mind. That is why it hurts this deeply, because long before anything happened in reality, it happened emotionally. You imagined how your life would feel once that door opened. You imagined the relief, the stability, the sense of finally being able to breathe without carrying the same uncertainty you have carried for so long. You saw yourself on the other side of that door. You saw peace. You saw progress. You saw the end of a difficult chapter, and your heart quietly attached itself to that image. Not to what was real, but to what was possible. And when Allah closed the door, He did not just remove the opportunity. He removed the version of your life you had already emotionally stepped into. That is why the pain feels personal, because it feels like something was taken from you. It feels like something you needed was denied. It feels like something that would have fixed your pain disappeared. But there is something your heart needs to understand. Allah did not remove a blessing. Allah removed a future that was not written for you, because what you saw was incomplete. You saw the parts that looked good. You did not see the parts that would have hurt you. You did not see the stress that would have entered your life later. You did not see the anxiety that would have slowly replaced your peace. You did not see the distractions that would have weakened your focus on Allah. You did not see how attached you would have become to something temporary. You saw the beginning. Allah saw the ending. And sometimes Allah saves you from a future you would have begged to escape later. But He saves you now before the damage begins. This is why the pain feels confusing, because from your perspective, nothing was wrong. It looked right. It felt right. It made sense. But Allah does not judge based on what looks right in the present moment. He judges based on what leads to long-term peace and long-term protection. There are things you want that would slowly pull your heart away from Him. Not immediately, gradually, quietly, until one day your peace would depend more on that thing than on Allah. And Allah protects your heart from that level of attachment, because anything your heart depends on more, then Allah becomes a source of instability, because it can disappear, it can change, it can leave. Allah does not want your emotional stability tied to something fragile. He wants it tied to Him. This is why sometimes He removes what you love, not because He wants you to suffer, but because He wants to protect your heart from loving something that cannot protect you. You think the closed door created your pain, but sometimes the closed door prevented a much deeper pain you were not ready to experience. Sometimes Allah breaks your attachment early, so you do not break later. Because if that door opened and you built your life around it, and then lost it later, the damage would have been deeper. The attachment would have been stronger. The pain would have been heavier. So Allah removes it now. While your heart is still capable of recovering, while your identity is still intact, while your relationship with Him can still grow stronger through the loss. You think you are grieving something real, but often you are grieving something imagined. You are grieving the life you thought you would have. You are grieving the peace you thought it would bring. You are grieving the version of yourself you believed you would become. But that version was never written for you. And Allah does not allow you to live inside illusions forever, because illusions feel safe, but they lead to instability. Allah anchors you in truth. Even when the truth hurts, even when the truth removes something your heart was holding tightly, because Allah's goal is not to give you every experience you desire. His goal is to guide you toward what will protect your soul. What will strengthen your iman? What will bring you closer to Him? Not everything that makes you happy in the moment is good for your akhirah. Not everything that feels like progress is guidance. And not every open door is mercy. Sometimes the greatest mercy is prevention. Prevention from a path that would have weakened you. Prevention from an attachment that would have controlled you. Prevention from a future that would have distanced you from Allah. And one of the hardest parts of trusting Allah is trusting Him when He removes something you wanted deeply. Because you do not see what He is protecting you from. You only see what is gone, but Allah sees what remains. He sees your future. He sees your potential. He sees where your life is truly meant to go. And He will not allow something to enter your life if it will compromise the person you are meant to become. Even if it breaks your heart temporarily. Because Allah is not protecting your comfort. He is protecting your destiny. And if Allah removed it while you were making dua for guidance, then He did not remove it to hurt you. He removed it to answer you in a way your heart does not fully understand yet. But one day it will. Allah blocked it because He saw the damage you couldn't see. There is a part of you that still wonders, what if it opened? You replay different versions of the outcome in your mind. You imagine how your life would look right now if that door had not closed. You imagine the relief you would feel, the certainty you would have, the version of yourself that would not be carrying this confusion. And the question quietly returns, why did Allah block it? Because from where you stand, it made sense. It looked safe. It looked promising. It looked like the answer you had been waiting for. But what you saw was only the surface. Allah saw the structure beneath it. You saw the appearance. Allah saw the reality. You saw what it could give you. Allah saw what it would take from you. And this is the difference between your vision and Allah's knowledge. Your vision is limited to what is visible. Allah's knowledge includes what is hidden. There were consequences attached to that door you never would have predicted. Consequences that would not appear immediately. Consequences that would unfold slowly, quietly. Until one day you would look back and realize how far you had drifted from who you were meant to be. Because not every danger announces itself at the beginning. Some dangers introduce themselves as blessings. They make you feel lucky. They make you feel chosen. They make you feel like your life is finally moving forward. But over time, they begin to take from you. They take your focus. They take your peace. They take your consistency. They take your closeness with Allah. And you do not notice it at first because the loss happens gradually. You begin compromising small things. You delay what once mattered. You justify what once bothered your conscience. You become attached in ways that make it harder to walk away. Until one day, the thing you once believed would strengthen you becomes the thing that weakens you. But Allah did not allow it to reach that point. He blocked it early, before the attachment became too deep, before the damage became too heavy, before the distance between you and Him became too wide. Because Allah protects His servants in ways they do not recognize immediately. Sometimes His protection looks like loss. Sometimes His protection feels like disappointment. Sometimes His protection arrives in the form of a closed door. But what you call loss, Allah calls preservation. Because Allah is not only protecting your present, He is protecting your future. He is protecting the version of you that still exists ahead. The version of you that is stronger, closer to Him, more stable, more aligned with your purpose. There are paths that would have delayed that version of you, paths that would have distracted you, paths that would have changed you in ways you cannot see right now. But Allah saw it and He intervened, not loudly, not in a way that gave you immediate clarity, but in a way that quietly redirected your life. Because Allah does not always explain His protection. He simply protects you, and your heart interprets it as confusion. But confusion is often the space where trust is built, because this is where you learn whether you trust Allah's knowledge more than your own understanding, whether you trust His plan more than your expectations, whether you trust His wisdom more than your emotions. You think you lost something valuable, but Allah saved you from something harmful. You think the closed door blocked your progress, but Allah blocked your destruction. And here is what you must understand. If Allah truly wanted that door to open, nothing on this earth could have stopped it. No person, no circumstance, no delay, no obstacle, because when Allah writes something for you, it arrives. Without confusion, without resistance, without forcing you to lose yourself. But when Allah blocks something, it is not because you were weak, it is because He was protecting you. Protecting your heart from attachment to what would not last. Protecting your soul from paths that would weaken it. Protecting your life from outcomes that would bring regret. Because Allah knows the full timeline of your life. He knows where every door leads. He knows which ones carry peace and which ones carry pain. And He closes the ones that do not belong in your story. Even when you are standing in front of them, asking Him to open them. Because Allah does not answer your du'as based only on what you want. He answers them based on what is best for you, even when it hurts, even when it confuses you, even when you do not understand. And one day you will see the damage Allah prevented. One day you will see the version of yourself that door would have created. One day you will realize that Allah did not block it to hold you back. He blocked it to protect everything ahead of you. And on that day, the confusion you feel right now will turn into gratitude. Their rejection was Allah removing what did not deserve you. It did not just feel like a closed door. It felt like you were the one being closed out. You started questioning yourself in ways you never did before. You replayed your words, your actions, your effort. You wondered if you said too much or not enough. You wondered if you were not good enough, because rejection has a way of making you feel small. It makes you feel like you were not chosen, like you were not worthy of being kept, like you were not enough to be accepted. And that feeling is heavy because you gave your sincerity, you gave your hope. You allowed yourself to believe that this person or this opportunity had a place in your life. But suddenly it was gone. And what hurts the most is not just their absence. It is the silence that replaced their presence. It is the lack of explanation. It is the lack of closure. It leaves you standing there with questions no one answered. And slowly you begin blaming yourself. But what if their rejection was never a reflection of your value? What if their rejection was Allah removing something that was not worthy of remaining in your life? Because